Well, hello everyone, I'm Sneha. Just let me know if it's visible and audible to all of you.
Yeah,
Thank you for letting me know. Hey, so this is the fourth webinar in the Experiential Conversation series. This series was intended to explain how the problems we are facing today has roots somewhere in our past. It could be in our childhood, it could be in our womb memory, it could be in our ancestry, or it could be in our past lives. And here we are specifically dealing with the first three, that is your childhood, your womb, and your intergenerational aspects. We are not touching past lives as of now. So, this is the series of having experiential conversations wherein we'll discuss. I'll share certain snippets of my life and I'll give you a systemic lens here, and then we'll go through a healing exercise, and then the floor will be open for questions and answers, as well as any kind of sharings. So today's webinar is called The Emotionally Unavailable Mother. And it's so fascinating that we had mothers right from the time we were born on this earth. We were always taken care of by our mothers, and we simply didn't even know this term existed, emotionally unavailable, until we got access to such information. I realized that I had an emotionally unavailable mother and how it started affecting me. I realized it pretty late in my life because I considered what was very normal for my circle, very normal in my upbringing. That is, moms taking care of their children, feeding them well, giving them good clothes to wear, taking care of their meals, helping them in their homeworks. And that is what a mother is supposed to do. I have not started recording, so I'll just start recording. Just a second. No. Is the recording in progress?
yeah, Sneha, the
Yes,
recording.
it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So that's what a mother was supposed to do, right? Bathe us, take care of us, feed us well. And my mother was doing everything. Yet when I grew up, I found very difficult to adjust with people. And I was very adjusting, very accommodating in a sense that I could fit in anywhere and everywhere, but I never felt belonged. I had a lot of questions in my mind, but I never this thought, going to my mom and asking her help, this never occurred to me. There was a time when I was facing domestic violence in my relationship, and one day I just broke up. I was calling my mother, I was on phone, and I started crying and telling her that this is what I had experienced. I was hit very brutally by my partner, and I was crying, and she had nothing to say. She simply didn't say anything, nothing to, she had nothing to even ask or question, are you fine? She simply changed the topic. And that was when I realized that there is something wrong here. Why can't she be like a normal person? She's very much concerned about my meals, whether I'm taking my meals on time, I'm taking medicines on time. But when I'm going through such a difficult phase in my life, why can't she just even listen to me? Why can't she ask the right questions? Why can't she give me the right advice? And this one incident literally shook me up more than the violence itself. This shook me from within that my mother was really not concerned about me. And I felt like I'm not worth loving. Even my mother is not worried about me. Even she is not concerned about me. And from there, that void started. And later on, I had kids and I was behaving exactly in the same manner. I would feed them well, I would take care of them, I would dress them nicely, I would do all the things which a mother is supposed to do except being there for them. I will discipline them, but I will not be lending my ear to them, listen to them. And I did realize that I am doing exactly what my mom did to me. And I was not liking it, so my kids will not be liking it as well. But at the same time, I was helpless. That was the only way I knew. And then my anger issues started when my kids started demanding attention. They were pretty small at that time and they started demanding my attention. They would cry and crib and cling on me, and I would feel irritated, like literally irritated. And I would give them, toys and colors so that they could be busy. But I would not sit with them and ask them what is troubling you. I could not do that. It was simply not in my dictionary. And when one day I was in one of my, I would say, anger fits, I would like to call it, that I would get fits of anger and I would become really violent. And I literally threw my younger one who was clinging and pulling my hair, and I just literally threw him away. And it was at that moment he literally fall on the floor. Fortunately, he was unhurt, but I was so angry that I didn't realize it at that point as well. Later on, after 2 days, when I got hurt from that same corner of the bed, which was very pointed and sharp, I realized what I did. And it was the turning point for me. I started contemplating what's wrong with me. How could I be so angry on my kids? At one point, I really want to give them the brightest future. I want to give them the finest education. I want to take care of every single meal so that they can have healthy bodies. And at the same time, I'm damaging them to such an extent. And this led to my inner journey. I started seeing a therapist who was trained and trauma informed in the same way now as I am. But at that point of time, I didn't know of all these fields and how deep my abandonment wound is. And when I started seeing my therapist, I started going back to those incidents. That's what I realized, that it's not about my kids. It's about that deep emotional void which I had, which doesn't allow me to be emotionally present, to be compassionate for my own self or my kids. And when I started digging those stories, the incidents and the experiences which shaped my mother for who she is, it's not that she's a bad mother. No, in fact, she is one of the nicest person, most accommodative person you will ever meet. And it's just that she didn't have any emotional capacity. I understood it when I started seeing my childhood experiences, and I also started seeing how why she is the way she is. And then the story started unlayering, and I started discovering a new lens to see my mom. My mom was the second child born to her parents, and she was born physically handicapped. She had a very dark complexion at the time of her birth, and belonging to a typical Marwari community where girls' complexion matters a lot, and a girl child is any day considered inferior than the boy child, especially in those days. With a handicap, it was a devastating combination, a girl with a dark complexion and handicap. So everyone would see her with a sense of pity, a sense of rejection. And this she could sense right from the moment she was born. And she tried to overperform and overgive. Despite her handicap, despite her limiting physical ability, she would do everything to make others' life easy. What essentially she was doing, now I can see, is that she was essentially trying to tell everyone that, look, I matter. Even I am worthy of love. When she was 3 years old, my Nani, that is my grandmom, had a second child, and she was a girl again, and she was very pretty, very beautiful, just like a poster kid. And my Nanaji, my grandfather, forcefully gave her to his younger brother because his younger brother could not have a child. And she was adopted without my grandmother's notice, without even her consent or information. While this shook my grandmom, my nanny, completely, she was devastated and she felt that she doesn't had any say in her relationship. But in those days, women were not allowed to say a lot, and families were given more importance than in individual. So she kept quiet, but a part of her died because one of her child was given away. And she could not be there for my mother emotionally because she was grieving, she was going through her own shit. So my mother never had that emotional capacity because her mother could not give it to her. And when I discovered what my nanny went through, so my nanny was the seventh child in the family. She was born very late to her parents at that time, and she was pretty much unwanted. I remember she told me when I was a child that her mother would leave her on the barn where, cattle were there. She would leave her there, left to die, because her mother was so overworked with 6 kids. Her health was not well. And my mother's mother, that is my grandmother, was then raised by a servant. So my grandmother simply didn't have any mother figure. There was a separation right from that point of time. And there was this systemic language which was going in my maternal family, where my nanny said, in an unconscious way, that mom, I will leave my child just like you did for you. And she eventually had to forcibly give one child for adoption. My mother did the same. My mother unconsciously followed this line, this language of love, where she told her mother that, mom, just for you, I will bear the pain of losing my children. And she eventually miscarried 2 children. And therefore, when I was born, she was pretty much isolated and in her own shell. And the same language I was also following, where I didn't lose any children, but I simply did not connect it with my children. And it was only when I started working on these inner languages, these unconscious ways through which I belong to my family system, I realized how damaging it was. And from that moment, I started digging deeper and I started honoring those women of my family by changing the way I choose to love, I choose to belong. And now my kids have such a beautiful relationship with me. We share such a beautiful relationship. Yes, a lot of work still needs to be done. A lot of damage repair still needs to be done. But still, they feel so safe with me. They feel very comfortable sharing their tantrums, their deepest fears, something which I never got, something which my mom never got or her mom never got. So when we choose to heal, when we choose to look beyond what is on the surface, we actually dig deeper and go to the stories, the events, the experiences which change the language of love itself. And trust me, it's one of the most liberating feeling you will ever feel in your life when you change the language of love and let the essence of love remain in the system. Because what happens in systemic work, we often see that if something has been done in the family system, something wrong has been done, some other person is going to relive that experience again. It is how the system balances. The problem is that the wrong person pays the price. My children paid the price. I paid the price. My mom paid the price. My nanny paid the price. And the wrong person will keep on paying the price until and unless someone sees what was the story behind it and how to address that story, honor that struggle, honor the fate of that individual or the owner of that story, and step back and create a new story, a new legacy without excluding that story. So, this was what I wanted to share about why my mother was emotionally unavailable. How it affected me? It affected me in all the spheres of my life. I never experienced love in relationships, not only the romantic ones, but overall in any relationship. I would struggle to feel seen, to be respected, to be appreciated, and acknowledged for who I am. I never felt that life came easy for me. It was always a struggle, a hustle. I have to manage so many things. I have to struggle and, literally, I would say, be like the the most hardworking person you would have ever seen, yet not getting any kind of results. People would call me unfortunate, unlucky. Some people, the elderlies in my families, they would call me that maybe it's my fate because of all the past life karmas I had carried on. So my finances were negligible. I could not simply hold on to money. It's not that I would not earn money, I would earn money, but it will just go away. I have to spend it in one way or the other.
సో అక్కడనే ఉంటామండి పోయి చూసి వస్తాం అక్కడ నుంచి.
Can you please mute your devices? Anyone who is on unmute, please mute your devices. Thank you. So, money would elude. I would struggle health wise. I would always be ill. I would always just not feel that my energy levels were really high. Even if it would just last for a few time and then I will again drop back. I will always feel tired, exhausted, burdened. And no matter how much I achieved, I was a big ambitious and an achiever. an overachiever, I would say. And no matter how much I achieved, it would never give me that lasting happiness. So, when a mother is not emotionally available to us, it affects us in ways which we can't even understand. Some of the ways changes our core being. We become an overperformer, we become a workaholic, we may go into addictions of any kind, we may become pleasers, we may suffer from health issues, we may suffer in relationships. And it's not that this cannot be undone. When children are small, if you're a mother and you have small children, you can always undo the damage. It's always easier to mend broken children than to repair broken adults, the damaged adults. Because it is not humanly possible, neither it is desirable that a mother needs to be present emotionally 24/7 or physically 24/7. It's not recommended as well. Because in the moments of separation, in the moments of isolation, we develop as an individual. So it is not practically possible and desirable for any human to be there for another human 24 into 7. But if our mothers were there 60% of the times, or if when the connection was broken between us, if they could come back and tell us that I am here and we could lean on her, if the repair has been done, we are secured. We don't go for people who dismiss us, who reject us, who judge us. We have a very healthy self esteem. But when this is not done even 60% of the times, we face a lot of difficulties in all the forms. However, if you are a grown up and you feel that you're struggling in your life, and somewhere after listening to this, and maybe because of this so much amount of knowledge available on mother wound, you start blaming your mother, then this is not going to help as well. Because when we were children, the movement was of the mother. The mother has to come and help us, take us in her embrace, love us, make us feel safe. It was the duty of the mother when we were children. However, when we grow up, when we become adults, it's our responsibility to make that movement towards our mother. And you don't have to do it in your external landscape, but you have to do it in your internal landscape, where you can go to your mother and connect with her. Your mother is not going to change, but what will happen is you will be able to accept the love in whatever quantity she is able to give. And you will stay there. So just like a thirsty person, they will, when you're deeply thirsty and the tap is not giving water in full speed, it's just trickling, you will hold your cup in front of the tap and you will wait till the time the cup is full, and then you will drink that water and quench your thirst. Similarly, when we become adults, it is our duty, it is our responsibility to make that movement towards our mother, hold our cup, and see that love trickling, no matter how slow it goes, and we'll wait patiently till the time our cup is full, and then we will satisfy ourselves. So, with this, I would take you through an exercise. The exercise is very cathartic. It can lead you to numbness. It can also make you feel angry. It can also make you feel tearful. And every emotion is valid and acceptable. So do not judge yourself for not making that internal movement. Rather, if aggression shows up, if fear shows up, if denial shows up, if hatred shows up, embrace all those emotions and process them. Because only when we are cleansed with all these superficial layers, we can tap into the love which we had for our mother as a child. It's very fascinating to, sometimes feel that if only my mother was a different person, if only she would more like so and so's mother, things would have been very easy for me. And a significant degree of healing takes place when we realize that we have the parents we really needed to have. Our parents never chose us. We as a soul chose that person to be our mom, chose the other person to be our father. We chose our parents. And if our parents would have been different, then we would not have been born. We could only be born when we had those set of parents with exact same traits which they had, not a percentage change there. And when we embrace them with all their humanness, with all their flaws, and also seeing what shaped them as a person, what really happens is we get the closure which we were seeking. We also get the answers which we were looking for. And we are able to create that space inside us where we can embrace our parents. The moment we do, our masculine and feminine is balanced. Things just start falling in our place. I mean, we don't have to hustle, we don't have to struggle. Love starts pouring in all the different forms, in the most beautiful forms. Happiness becomes a part of your life. Good health becomes the way of your life. I mean, life becomes so easy. Even though circumstances are not in your favor, and they will not be most of the times, it just doesn't disturb you. It doesn't shakes you. You stay in your center because your energies are aligned. So, how do you process them? There are multiple ways of processing it. One of them could be writing, others could be going deep into those events and experiences which drifted you apart from the parents, reliving them, and then processing it, releasing those energies back, seeing what shaped them. So, this is a process known as psychomentium, which I do on my one on one work extensively. So, when I take one on one work with my clients, I extensively focus on repairing this primal bond, because once this primal bond is restored, everything else will follow. So even if my client is coming with a health issue, or maybe some money problems or relationship problems, my singular focus is on repairing the primal bonds with the parents. That is the deep subconscious work I do. Because the moment that is repaired, everything else, be it money, relationship, health, happiness, abundance, love, everything else will just fall in place. Okay? So processing can take different forms. One of the forms is through writing, one of the forms is deep somatic work, which you can do on your own. Definitely You need someone to hold that space for you. Other could be a combination of these. Then we use methods like regressions, which is again done under some guidance. The idea is to relive that emotion, which is separating you from your mother. So if I'm deeply angry with my mother, I have to relive that anger. I have to relive all the moments, all the events or the experiences where I was deeply angry with my mom. I have to express that anger, not in front of my mom, but internally. I have to express it. And then I have to release it from my body because it's the body which is keeping all the score of these different emotions. Once I process it, once I release it, a lot of space will be created. And then I will use that space to integrate the emotions which helps me to grow. And there is a full process to it. So processing is very important. Reliving that pain is very important so that you are released from it. There is no escape from this. There is no bypass of somatic work. There is no bypass of this deep inner work. So let's start with the exercise. For all these people who can come on camera, I would recommend that to come on camera. If not, then it's okay. Okay, let's start. If you're sitting on the bed and sitting cross-legged, then just ensure that you have a support in your back. Okay, you might have a pillow or maybe you would be taking the support of the bed stand. If you are sitting on the chair, ensure that your feet are well grounded. There is a space between and behind your knees. Okay, space between your knees and behind your knees so that your pelvic floor is open. Okay, and your back is well rested. Keep your hands on your thighs, palm facing upwards. Keep your mouth slightly open so that a tube is formed and you can inhale and exhale. If keeping your mouth open feels uncomfortable, then you can exhale from your nose. Otherwise, I would recommend, if possible, keep exhalation through your mouth. And now let's begin. Close your eyes. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now we'll practice inhalation and exhalation with holding. Inhale, hold, exhale, and hold. Ensure that all the counts are same. So if you are inhaling for 5 counts, you have to hold for 5 counts, exhale for 5 counts, and then again hold for 5 counts. Okay? Do it at your own comfortable pace. Inhale, hold, exhale, and hold. Again, inhale, hold, exhale, and hold. Last 2 counts. Inhale, hold, Exhale and hold. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Now practicing inhalation and exhalation without holding the breath for 3 more counts. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One last. Inhale and exhale. And now visualize yourself on a sea beach. You can hear the waves, the sound of the sea. You can feel the sand beneath your feet, the breeze with salt in it on your face, and keep on walking towards the beach. With 5 steps, you can feel the texture of the sand changing. You can feel the wet sand beneath you. And you can see how vast the sea is. And now, as you go near and near towards the beach, the waves start touching your skin. They start washing your feet. Feel the waves crashing on your feet and just relapsing. And each time the waves touches your feet, washes it, and then recedes back, part of you which is very burdening, which is very exhausting, which is very tiring, starts relaxing. With each time the waves touches you and takes something from you, something in you relaxes. You start feeling that calmness, the centeredness. And now, as you feel relaxed, I want you to look on the left side and you will see your mom standing there. She is at a comfortable distance with you right now. See her, focus her attention, the way she looks, the way she dresses, the way she combs her hair. Maybe her body has a particular fragrance. Breathe into that familiarity of your mom's presence, her essence. And as you keep looking towards her, she makes that movement towards you. She takes 3 steps near you. And now you can see her very clearly. You can see the expressions on her face, the way her eyes move. And just start noticing what happens inside your body as you see your mom in this close vicinity. And now she takes few more steps towards you and she's just at a distance of 3 steps. You can smell her. What is happening inside your body as you see her at such a close distance. Now she takes one more step towards you. The wind flutters her clothes, and you can feel her clothes now. Keep on maintaining the eye contact and see if you're able to maintain an eye contact with her or not. Now she takes another step towards you, and now she can literally touch you. Your bodies touch. And how does it feel? What would you like to do at this moment? Would you like to take a step back? Would you like her to take some steps back? Or would you like to hug her? Or would you like to stand very stiff? What's happening in your internal landscape? Just become aware of it. And now she takes few steps back. What happens in your body as she takes few steps back? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel more relaxed? Or do you want her to be near you? She takes few more steps back, and now she is at a very comfortable distance with you. What is happening now in your body, in your inner landscape? And now when she is at a very comfortable distance, you tell her your biggest issues. Tell her, Mom, I am facing so and so. I'm struggling through so and so. Whatever you haven't shared with anyone, whatever is burdening your heart, whatever is burdening your soul at this moment, let it all out. Let it just come out and see her listening to you patiently. And when you see her listening to you patiently, keep pouring your heart out. Keep saying whatever you wish to say, whatever you could not say without being ashamed, without being judged, without criticizing yourself. And as you express all of it, see those heavy feelings leaving your body. Find a place in your body where you feel those sensations and create a big open window on that part of the body and breathe those feelings out. Just breathe them out. And as you breathe them out, give it a form, a size, a shape, or a color. And keep on breathing it out. Let all the heaviness, all the discomfort leave your body. Keep breathing it out. Visualize it moving out of your body. And as it keeps moving out, with 5 deep inhalation and exhalation, it will leave your body completely. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And one with last deep inhalation and exhalation, it will leave completely. Inhale and exhale. You don't have to even figure out where it is going, what is happening in the background. Just now notice how you feel after pouring whatever was troubling you to your mom, and she's simply listening to you. She just being present for you. And this is how you can change what had happened with you. Because in this moment, in this visual, she was emotionally present for you. She was available for you. And if you keep on practicing this internal movement, you'll start sensing her presence in your life. Gently bow down to her. Thank her for the time, for her patient listening, for being here, for simply showing up. And come back to the here and now. Gently, very gently, at your own pace, you can open your eyes and come back to the present moment. Okay, so anyone who would like to share, or if they have any questions or concerns, the floor is now open. Yes, and that is absolutely okay, Pratna, if you felt heaviness inside, because a lot of times when we have this exercise, especially during the initial times, it takes us to all those places where we were abandoned and rejected by our moms, where she could not be there for all the valid reasons. And that abandonment resurfaces. And this is also this also acts as a portal to see what is holding us back to make that movement towards her. Okay, so in your case, I would suggest you to journal and see what is stopping you to make that movement towards her. And whenever you journal, the best way to do it is without stopping. I mean, just let the pen flow. You don't have to stop. You don't have to worry about what I'm writing. Am I repeating the same things? Is it grammatically correct? How is writing? Am I using the right words? Just let it flow. A lot of new insights will come up. Okay. Anyone else who would like to share or
Sneha,
tell
so
what
does the
has happened?
journaling, yeah, so the journaling has to be only once, write and get done.
No, it could be multiple times. Every time you do this exercise, you will see something showing up.
And I
Like
have an,
for example, I am doing this for more than 4 years now. I'm very comfortable, okay, in the internal landscape. I'm very comfortable to lean my head on her and cry like a baby. I still cry. It's like that the well is so deep, that no matter how many times I go and she pours love with bucket full of water, it's still going to be empty. So I just stay there and she keeps on pouring in. Okay.
Hmm.
One-on-one sessions will intensify the experience and also help you release a lot. And the movement becomes very fast. So since you're already taking one-on-one work, supplementing this with journaling, especially after doing this exercise, will help you a lot. It will bring surface all the suppressed emotions. And once the suppressed is expressed, it is given an outlet, healing starts taking place. We cannot heal the unconscious. We can only heal what is conscious. And therefore, we have to bring those emotions to the conscious. Okay.
Sneha, I have one more doubt. Like you know that I'm taking a one-on-one. Let's suppose if there's somebody who's not taking a one-on-one or a therapy, for them doing a conscious work, like, like very consciously practicing, the bond with the mother and everything, does that heal the break in bond with the mother? Or or does one mandatorily have to go through inner work?
Look, as I said, there is no bypass of inner work. It has to be done.
Hmm.
When you are, what is the benefit of one-on-one work is that someone holds that space for you when you can process that entire event, release it, and integrate your authentic parts and give it a desired ending. All of this you cannot do on your own.
Got it.
Self-healing is also good. Any kind of healing is good. If it is helping you make that movement, it is worth trying. Okay. But what happens is you get stuck after some point because you simply do not know how to release yourself from that event. So if I'm doing, suppose, a guided meditation, okay, and I go to that event, but if I'm not able to process it fully, what will happen is I may come back to conscious again, okay? Because now we don't regress you to such as an extent. We don't hypnotize, use extensive methods of hypnotism. We just use breath work to regulate. So it's very easy to come to the natural, the present state. But what happens is at the subconscious level, if that wound is open, okay, even if it is remotely touched, or it has certain other layers has just created a, suppose, a slight effect on that wound, what will happen is it will multiply and you might start overreacting. You might start behaving in ways which doesn't justify the present. So it is very important to close the event properly.
Hmm.
Okay. And that happens when the space is held by someone. Because when we are going through some deep pain, we simply cannot process it fully.
Hmm.
Like I'm tell you, Pratna, like I have been doing one-on-one work with my therapist. Now it's 4.5, 5th year. Okay. I'm working one-on-one. Still, I work one-on-one. I have all the tools. But
Got
what happens is when I do on my own, I'm able to reach level 1 or level 2. When someone is holding that space for me, I simply know and I can burst open. And I know that person will bring me back.
Hmm.
Okay. So therefore, it is very important. I mean, there is no substitute for one-on-one work.
Got it. Yeah.
However, I do understand that constraints are there. There are constraints with respect to resources, with respect to time. So, in such cases, journaling helps a lot because it is a subtle form of releasing. It will release ounce by ounce. It will not give you a gush. I mean, it will not be like a dam flowing. It will be trickling, but it will, when done consistently over a period of time, it helps you release a lot. So all those people who cannot take one on one because of any reason, I suggest go for journaling. I mean automated journaling. Okay, because that is how you release, your subconscious starts releasing. Okay, yeah, I have few messages, I'll just go through them. I was so angry at her. I didn't want her to come near me, but when she touched me, I hugged her and I broke down bad. I cried bad. I said, I didn't want to. Okay, so in your case, Garima, what has surfaced is your inner child. So tell me, were there moments when mom was very busy and you could not reach out to her in your childhood? So that is what we technically term it as interrupted outreach, when the child could not reach out to mom. The mom is there, but I cannot reach out to her. Okay. So what has surfaced essentially is that inner child of yours. Okay. And in your case, going back to that inner child and being that adult she needed at that point of time, and making her feel safe, and then releasing those energies which are still stored in your body, which is allowing you to still feel that don't get so busy again. Okay, don't go again. When you will release it, you will come back in a very different way, because then the adult will be taking over. The adult will not be scared what if mom goes back, because the adult knows that I can always go back to mom. Even if she goes away, I can go back to her. Right? So that will help you a lot. And next, what message is there? Okay, so Shilpi, how was your childhood like? When you say that
Uh,
I can love you from a distance.
I feel comfortable when I'm not at home and when she's away. It's like, okay, I love my mother, but when I'm with her, it's like it's a love-hate relationship. Like sometimes I feel very irritated, very irritated. I feel bad that why I'm feeling like that, but I don't know. It's just there.
Okay. So Shilpi, tell me one thing, and you can
Mm-hmm.
choose not to answer if you don't
Mm-hmm.
feel comfortable enough at this group platform. When you were a child, was your mother there for you?
Yes, she was there, but she was not emotionally there, I would say, because she was struggling with other things. Like her in-laws was not good, and she was always struggling with them. So she used to, uh, I don't remember in my childhood, but as per my consciousness, she used to hit, like she used to, used to take out her frustration on us and on me and my siblings. So I get very stiff when I see that she's coming close or all this
Yeah.
thing. So it's very difficult for me. And she also used to scold a lot in small small things. Like if we are doing something, like she used to scold a lot. Like now I can relate the type of frustrations she had. She used to get triggered by little things.
So Shilpi, what essentially is happening is when our body becomes stiff, it is basically a freeze response.
Hmm.
Like I'll become stiff like this. This comes from that mammalian brain of ours, where like what happened in your jungle, what animals used to do. If they could not fight, they would try to flight. They would
Hmm.
try to run away. And if they could not run away, they will act like dead, right? and the predator will come, it will sniff, and if they don't sense any breath in the animal, they would just leave, and that is how they will feel safe.
Mm.
Okay, so what essentially is happening, Shilpi, with you is that a part of you is stuck in this freeze response. Whenever mom comes, I know she will come and she is going to hit me. This has been my lived experience, that she's going to hit me, she's going to scold, or she's going to scream at me. My nervous system automatically gets alert. Don't move.
Mm.
Act like you are dead. And therefore, that stiffness in the body. However, what is also happening is at the same time, I desire a comfort, someone to comfort me. And most of the cases of freeze response, what essentially happens is when you desire to be comforted, you actually seek some kind of physical intimacy, right? Someone holding you, hugging you,
Mm.
just caressing you. That is what comfort means to you. So essentially, a part of you is like very stiff when she's coming near to me, but at the same time, I'm desiring this comfort, right? And again, for you going back to those incidents, maybe if there are so many, if this is a repeated experience as you are sharing, then maybe you have to go to those events multiple times.
Mm.
When you have been beaten very violently, or been screamed at, or when you have been shaken to the core, you might have to go to all those incidents separately to truly bring yourself back in the present moment. Because if this remains unaddressed, how it will change your life is, even though you will desiring physical proximity and intimacy, cuddling and hugs from your partner in your romantic relationship, a part of you will simply reject it.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, because my body simply doesn't feel safe when
Mm.
someone comes close to me. So the mere thought of someone close means I'm going to get hurt. So I will do anything and everything to protect myself from that hurt, even if it means pushing that person away. And when I push that person away, I also feel guilty.
Mm.
I don't want them to be away. So it's like that continuous push and pull kind of thing. I want them to be near me, but not so
Mm.
near. So until and unless we address those fragments of you which are still stuck in this part, in this freeze response, we may not be able to experience the fullness of life, right? Because it is those fears which overshadow your present moment. Okay. So, in your case, I would specially recommend doing this inner child work, this interrupted outreach work. If you are working one on one with someone, great. If you would like to explore working with me, we can also connect.
Okay. Okay,
But
Sneha.
processing those events separately is very crucial for you. There is no bypass in this case. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Sneha.
You're welcome. Next is, if having an emotion causes you to become narcissistic in life with others, how do you go about recovering? How do you understand pain and empathy? So, I will tell you one thing, that this word narcissistic has been abused like anything. We all are narcissistic in one way or the other. We all are nice to certain people from whom we are seeking validation, and we are very brutal, very rude to people who really matter in our lives, in our intimate relationships and our close family members. We are very rude. And yes, having an emotionally unavailable parent is going to make you that way, whether we accept it or whether we live in denial. It is going to make us feel crave for love and at the same time push people away by becoming hyper independent, by showing aggression, by showing that I really don't care what you do to me, by manipulating other person. We do all that in different degrees. It's all there in us. So when it comes to recovering, so the narcissistic are essentially what? The classic characteristics are being angry, being manipulative, being very insecure. And behind that anger, behind that manipulation, behind that insecurity is a fear of being left alone, fear of being unloved. And behind that fear, if I just go a little deeper, is the pain when I have to relive it, when I have to feel unloved, when I cried inside, when I was not given the love, the appreciation I truly needed at that point in time, when I was behaving at my worst, and when I was needing that love the most, and I was denied that. When I see and sit with that pain, with that grief, what essentially happens is we experience life in a very different level. Then we are able to have empathy because we know how it feels. It's not that you're not going to hurt other people anymore. You are going to do that because it's that wiring inside you. It has taken so many years to condition that, and it will take certain number of years to fully rewire it. And in that moments, till the time that happens, we might spill our emotional garbage, we might vomit on others. But what essentially will happen is that you will also start becoming aware. Initially, the awareness will come after the event has been done, after the damage has been done. And maybe you will feel guilty and then you'll apologize to the other person. Gradually, as you keep on being mindful of your own triggers, what will happen is the awareness will come right at that moment, in the heat of the moment, precisely at that moment. And there will have the choice whether to behave in the old ways or to take a new way. And then after some time, what essentially would happen, and this I am now lately experiencing, which was very surprising for me as well, that you will start feeling it before it happens, before the event happens. Just by other person's body language, you will start sensing that this might trigger this part of me. And before that could trigger, you become that adult and you will protect that part of me. And then the other person cannot cause you any pain. Rather, you will be able to navigate that situation very beautifully and very surprisingly. And this has started happening with me lately. Earlier, I used to feel the guilt, and then I would try to do the damage repair when I started my inner work because awareness builds a lot of guilt inside you. And then gradually, what happened that I was right at the heat of the moment, I was able to take a different approach. Like when my kids were screaming and shouting, I would simply just hold them and hug them, and they will just keep on fighting. They will just try to get a release, and shout and scream, and I'll just hold them and I'll sing lullabies to them, even though they are now 10 and 7. But I will just keep on doing that, and eventually within 5 minutes or so they will just calm down. Their body language, their facial expressions, the eyes, everything will change, and I will not get affected by any of it. Now, what happens is the moment I see their body language changing, I know it might trigger a part of me. Like yesterday, only my younger one told me, you're the worst mom in this earth. No one could be as bad as you. He's just 7, not even 7. And he told me that. And I knew that now what was coming. I started, feeling that pulsating sensation in my chest that, you're not a good mom. And all the times when I was being told, all that started resurfacing. And at that moment, when my son was screaming and I was going through this inner turmoil, I just said that, this is not my story. These are the stories of other people, and they have just projected this on me. This is not my story. And I closed my eyes and I was able to breathe in my body and release that part of it. And it happened so instantly. And after that, I just was sitting like this and listening to my son. And I said that, yes, I could be a bad mom. You know, I could hurt you at times, but I have to be, I have to stick because I have to take care of you. And I didn't say anything else. I just hugged him. And he kept on shouting, you did this, you did that. And he listed so many mistakes of mine, which I don't even know when I did. And then within this entire thing happened for 15-20 minutes. And after that, he just gave me a kiss and said, Mama, bye. I'm going for play. So, what essentially happened was that from being that angry, super angry mom who would hit kids because of her own frustration, I am here when I could take those accusations, which are not even true, yet they trigger me. And then I come back to this space where I can be that adult my child needs, the mother that my child needs. And it is a journey and it will take time. There is no rush here and there is no timeline here. But yes, with each processing of those events, because there is no other way, you have to process those events at least till a significant point of time, till that time you reach this space that you can do it on your own. Then uske baad you don't have to process those events specifically. Then it will come as a natural response from you. But till that time, you have to process certain events which has shaped you, and that event could be as small as losing a toy, which may not be very big in the eyes of an adult, but it was very big for that child. It could be just, crying for that one event when mom didn't take you to the market. And she might have all her reasons. She just wanted to finish the task quickly. She might feel that it would be too exhausting for you, but the child doesn't see all of it. The child feels that I was left alone. My mom just went away. And you have to process that event. You have to release yourself from, because some parts of you are still there. And it's like, a sponge. Certain parts of you have been left there. And until and unless you bring them back, there will be holes. And anything in your current environment will just fill into that hole and will make it so. So, I guess seeing your own pain helps you to become more empathetic towards others. When you start dropping judgments about your own self, when you start dropping those criticism about your own self, then you truly become very open for others. Then you truly become very understanding for others. I hope I have answered your question. Okay. Anyone else who would like to share or would like to discuss anything? In that case, if there are no questions, then we can wind up the session. Just certain things before we wind up, that I hold these experiential conversation series every month. It is supposedly on the last Saturday of every month, 11:30 to 12:30. Last week I wasn't well, so I have to reschedule this particular webinar. And here we talk about all the different angles of our life, all the different things which shapes us from a systemic lens. We go through certain kind of healing exercises and then we do sharing, or I have space for question answers. The idea behind this is not to convert clients. Okay, that will happen anyways. The more value you put in, people are going to find you. People are going to match your vibration. The right people will find you. So the idea behind this entire series, which will go on till 1 year, is not converting clients. The idea is to become aware, to have a systemic lens, to understand that what we are going through is not because of our current circumstances, rather the deep-seated belief which is inside us, which still guards our life, which still affects us in ways which we can't even decipher. So the idea is to create that awareness, because when we are aware, then only we can change. We cannot change something which we are unaware of. So the idea here is to create the awareness so that we can have that difficult conversations with ourselves. We can ask those difficult questions to ourselves and see how we can find a solution. It is more about having that internal peace, which we are searching in all the different places. That internal happiness, the filling of our own void, because we have that ability within us. Because of neurogenesis, we can actually rewire our nervous system. And we do that through these exercises, through this deep inner work. So the entire idea is to make you aware of this inner work. So if you would like to be a part of these series, you can stay in touch through my Instagram handle or the Telegram channel or through the mails I will be sending you. And you can be a part of these series and you can explore what needs to be healed in your realm, because these gives you insight of what needs to be taken care of. And the moment you take care of what shows up, a lot of things in your 3D, in your present reality is already taken care of, because the root work has been done. So when you apply medicines on the roots, it may take some time, but the plant will become more healthy, right? So with that, I will take your leave. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and your presence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sneha.
Thank you, Ishu. Thank you, Abhi. Thank you, Shilpi. Thank you, Garima. Thank you, everyone. See you all. Bye.
Bye.